The workday ID and that username are our custom fields that we want to be included in the output. But the eligibility criteria was, they're only looking at exempt workers as part of the output. So yeah, that was the only eligibility criteria. So it means that from 1st of January, 2000 till today, we have around 350 workers in the system whose primary position is marked as exempt. There may be more workers in the system, but their profiles are not marked as exempt. So let's look at the messages again. So it says OK. Identifying eligibility and data changes for 350 workers. Data audit for 350 workers. So yes, it looked at the data audit. Was there any change? Diagnostic audit for 350 workers with transactional changes. Was there any change in transactional data? Then it created the output for 350 workers. So it said, okay, you know what? 350 workers are okay to be sent in the output. So in the output also we have 350 workers. Great, right? So let's look at the output files. Here is our output XML. This is the deliverable file. This is our output XML file. We click on that and let me save it. It's a big enough file. So let me go to the folder. It's still downloading. Let me refresh it. Alright, here it is. So open with, where is open with? Let me just copy that. Alright, and then I will open it up in my Notepad++. Okay, here is the file. So let me make it a little bit pretty. Oh yeah, in my system I don't have the option to make it pretty. Ctrl+H place all. Right, so this is my output file now. Worker count 350, right, it matches what we had in the messages. Version 34. We selected that as our version. Prior entry time. What is the prior entry time? What is it equivalent to? It is equivalent to last successful as of entry moment. That is your prior time. UC 2000.0.1.0.1. That is your prior time. Current entry time is the as of entry moment. Prior effective time is the last successful effective date. Current effective time is the effective date. These are your launch parameters. So it has it in the header. It has it in the header of the XML file. Now it starts the worker data. In between the worker, this beginning and the closing tag, you have the worker information. Let me just reduce the size a little bit. So now you have the worker information right. So what is it? Eligibility is true, of course. That is why we have it in the output. We have the personal data section. We have the status data section. We have the position data section. We have the compensation data section. And what about the workday ID and the username? You see it is included in the output, but in the additional information section. So what does this tell us? That the custom integration service that we have created, the field that we have included as part of that, will be in the additional information section. Correct. These are two fields we included in the additional section right in the custom integration service. Workday ID and username. So they got included in the output, no problem, but in the additional information section. Right. Okay. So here let's look at the data. Worker. So it starts with a summary, which is the employee ID and the name. And then we have the personal data section, where we have the first name. We wanted that. Last name, the gender, the marital status, email address, right. Hire date, original hire date position. Okay. What is the position? Business. Title is Vice President Human Resources. Worker type is irregular. It's a regular worker. Okay, compensation, total annual base pay, $214,364 US. Right. So by default, the output of the code connector is going to be in an XML format. And this is how the output looks like. Alright. For each worker, we will have this worker section. Now, next worker is Steve Morgan. So we have Steve's information. XML files are not meant to be read by human beings. It is meant to be read by machines only. Right. No, that is true. It is not meant to be read by humans. It is meant to be read by machines. Since we are working with them. That's why I mean, we have to look at this and try to make sense of it right. That's why we are reviewing the data. Because next is what we are going to do is we're going to transform this data. This is not the format that everybody can understand, is it? Is it the format that everybody can understand? Not right. We have to do a transformation on top of this anyway. So unless we know the structure of this particular file, we may not be able to transform it. Right. But again, just by looking at this, it may not be easy, or it may not be convenient to know what is the structure. But for that our Workday also gives you in the output files. It also gives you the structure of the file, that is a worktext. This is a schema file. This is a schema. So if you open this up using a tool that understands XML, for example Oxygen, Oxygen is a tool that understands XML. If you open this schema and this XML file using Oxygen, then this XML file becomes a little bit more easier to read and understand.